guys, welcome to Yoga with Sydney. I'm Sydney. Thanks for joining me today. I've got a great class for us planned. Lots of hamstring opening, hip opening, some good core work as always, and some seat work too. So I hope you enjoy the class and I'll see you on the mat. We're going to start off our practice in child's pose, balasana. This is just a really nice way to start off our practice, just to open up the upper back as we bring breath into that upper back, expanding the back of the rib cage as we inhale. And as we exhale, just emptying the lungs completely, letting all of the air just wash away anything that we no longer need. Releasing all of the air, emptying the lungs completely. And we're opening up that low back as we bring the hips toward the heels. Your knees can be together or wide apart, whatever is most comfortable on your body. Start to create that whisper sound as you breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. So there's a slight constriction in the base of the throat, kind of like you're fogging a mirror. As you exhale, you're creating that sound, but you're creating it with your mouth closed. Slightly constricting the base of the throat to draw the breath in. And exhale all of the air out. And then we'll come forward into downward facing dog and we'll continue our Ujjayi breath. So lifting the hips up toward the sky, finding this upside down V position with the body. Check out your hands, make sure that your fingers are spread nice and wide, hands are shoulder width apart, and then drop your head and gaze at a point on the earth between your feet. Press your hips back so that you're taking most of the crease out of the wrists. And you could try pedaling out your feet here, bending one knee and pressing the opposite heel down toward the earth. Lift your shoulders away from your ears, create space for your neck. Draw your belly button in toward your spine. And breathe into your back. Inhale, expand the back of the rib cage. Exhale, empty the lungs completely. From here, let's bend both knees, push the chest toward the thighs. This might help you get more length in your spine. It's more important to have a flat back than it is to have straight legs. So first, we're gonna work on the straightness of the spine. Really lengthening the spine as we push the chest toward the thighs and reach the tailbone to the sky. From here, inhale forward into plank pose. Bring your shoulders over your wrists. And we'll just hold here for a few breaths. You can be on your toes or you can be on your knees. We're gonna lift up through the heart, push the floor away from you, lift up through the waist. If you're on your toes, really engage through the front of the leg, so lift through the kneecaps and engage through the quadriceps. We'll practice our chaturanga by shifting forward on the toes so that your shoulders come toward your fingertips. Stay on your toes or drop your knees. Slowly lower chest, same time as hips, elbows bend straight back. We'll come onto the belly for the first one. Inhale, cobra pose, keeping the elbows bent, opening up the heart, collarbone is nice and wide. And then lower down and push all the way back up onto your knees. Coming into child's pose and resting here or resting in downward facing dog. To make downward facing dog feel like more of a rest, make sure that you're spreading the fingers wide, you're lifting your shoulders away from your ears, and then you're dropping your head so your neck is relaxed, gazing at a point on the earth between your feet, and taking most of the crease out of the wrist by really reaching the tailbone to the sky and pushing the hips up and back, pushing the chest toward the thighs. Deep breath in and exhale completely. If you're in child's pose, come into downward facing dog. Bring your feet together, take the right leg to the sky, keep the leg straight or bend your knee and open up your hip, push your bottom heel toward the earth. And then straighten the right leg, gaze forward, we're gonna step it through. So you have to lift that knee high and bring it forward. If it doesn't make it the first time, inch it up there so that the right knee is over the right ankle. Drop the back knee down to the earth, untuck the back toes, low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Keep the hands on the floor or bring your hands to your thigh, or take your arms up to the sky and open up that heart and breathe. Firm your lower belly, so engage Mula Bandha, those pelvic floor muscles, Uddiyana Bandha, those lower abdominal muscles. Bandha means tighten or lock, so we're tightening that lower belly to support the low back. Lift the heart, create this arch in the upper back right behind the heart. Take a deep breath in and exhale, bring your hands down to the earth. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee, step all the way up to the top of the mat. And from here, take a forward fold. So just relax the neck. If you happen to have a block, you can put your hands on a block. Or if you can't reach the floor with straight legs, just bend your knees so that you can put some weight on the hands. Gaze at your belly button, your neck is relaxed. Breathe here, just let your spine hang, let your neck hang. And then we're gonna bend our knees and roll up slowly, one vertebra at a time. Rolling the shoulders down and back. Take the arms to the sky, inhale. Hands come down through center and we bow forward, reaching all the way down toward the earth. Inhale, halfway lift, come to the fingertips, or put your hands on your shins and open your heart. Look about 3 feet out in front of you. Deep breath in and exhale, take the hands down to the earth. Step the right foot to the back of the mat this time. Drop the back knee down. Untuck the back toes, Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Keep the hands on the floor or bring your hands to your thigh or take your arms up to the sky. If your arms are up, drop your shoulders down away from your ears. And again, firm that lower belly and continue the breath. So if we're not breathing, it's not really yoga. It's just a bunch of movements and stretches. So yoga is all about the breath with the movement. Inhale and exhale. Take the hands back down. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee. Step the left foot back into downward facing dog. Drop your head. Breathe into your back. Inhale and exhale. Empty the lungs. Come forward into plank pose and hold, setting up for another chaturanga. Shift forward on your toes. Stay on the toes or drop the knees. Slowly lower chest, same time as hips. You can hover off the floor or you can come onto your belly. Inhale, cobra pose. Elbows stay bent or slide forward and come up into upward facing dog. Push into the floor with the hands. Firm the belly, firm the front of the thighs. And then tuck the toes under or roll over those toes and take your hips back to the sky for downward facing dog. Draw the lower belly in. Inhale into your back. Feel the sides of the rib cage, the back of the rib cage expand. And exhale, empty the lungs. So we're cleansing the body, cleansing the mind through the breath. Bring the feet together, left leg goes to the sky. Keep the left leg straight or bend the knee and open up that hip. Straighten out the left leg, gaze forward, and step between your hands. Drop the back knee down to the floor, and again, low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Hands can stay on the floor, or they can come to the thigh, or they go up to the sky. If your arms are up, left hand grabs the right wrist, and we reach over to the left, deepening the stretch in the right side of the body. Opening up this right hip flexor, this right psoas muscle. Make sure that your weight is forward. You don't want to be back here. So we're lunging here. Take one more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Hands come back down. Lift the back knee. Step all the way up to the top of the mat. And take another forward fold. Feet are together. Hands are either on the floor or on your block, about 8 inches out in front of the toes. Relax the neck. Draw the belly button toward the spine. Inhale into your upper back. And exhale, empty the lungs. So we're warming the body, opening the body through the breath. Keep the knees bent and roll up slowly, one vertebra at a time. Reach the arms to the sky, inhale. Exhale again, hands come down through center and we bow forward. Inhale, halfway lift, open the heart, come to the fingertips or put your hands on your shins. Deep breath in, and exhale, take the hands down to the earth. Step the left foot back this time, one more low lunge. Drop the back knee and tuck the back toes. Anjaneyasana. If you're taking your arms up, right hand grabs the left wrist and we reach over to the right, creating this length in that left side of the body, really opening up that left hip flexor. These hip flexors can get really tight from all the sitting, also from cycling or anything basically. These hip flexors tend to be a tight area on the body, so safely stretching them by keeping those lower abdominal muscles engaged. Deep breath in and exhale, hands come back down. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee. Step all the way back into downward facing dog. Cycle through vinyasa. Inhale, come forward to plank. Stay on the toes or drop the knees. Exhale, chaturanga, elbows bend straight back. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. And then exhale, take it all the way back into child's pose or a downward facing dog. Resting here. Turning the attention inward. Maybe closing the eyes. Bringing the gaze to the third eye. The space between the eyes. And just feeling into this sense of I exist, this sense of being, this sense of I. If you're in child's pose, come into downward facing dog. Create that sound of the breath as you inhale and exhale, empty the lungs. Let's rise high onto the tippy toes, bend the knees, gaze forward, inhale. Exhale, step or jump to the top of the mat. Feet together, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees, drop the hips, sweep the floor, Utkatasana, chair pose. Arms come up by the ears or they can be out in front of you instead. Shift the weight back into your heels. Draw the lower belly in. And make sure you can see your toes if you look down. That's how far back you're sticking your hips. Exhale, drop down another inch. This pose is also called fierce pose, so it should be challenging. Building some heat in the body through this posture and through our breath. One more breath, inhale. Exhale, drop those hips. Inhale, stand up, lift the heart. Exhale, bow forward, gaze at the belly button. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank or jump back, landing in your chaturanga with soft elbows. Hover or come to your belly. Inhale, up dog or cobra. If you're doing upward dog, really firm the belly. That will support the low back. And then use the abdominal muscles to lift the hips to downward facing dog. And breathe in and breathe out. So it's a full exhalation, cleansing the body, purifying the body-mind. We'll do it one more time. Gaze forward, rise high onto the toes, bend the knees, inhale. Exhale, step or jump to meet the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees, drop the hips, sweep the forearms up. Chair pose, Utkatasana. Now either stay here on those heels, weight is back in the heels, or maybe try rising up high onto your tippy toes, lifting the heels high up off the floor. Arms can be by the ears or out in front of you. It's probably a little easier to balance with them out in front. Find a drishti, a gazing point, somewhere that's not moving. Drop your hips lower and lift your heels higher. Keep calm, keep focused, and bring your attention back to your breath. Creating that whisper sound as we breathe in and out. Last breath. Lift the heels, drop the hips. And then set your heels down, lift the heart, inhale. Hands come down through center. Exhale, bow forward, reach down for the earth. Inhale, halfway lift. And again, exhale, step back to plank or jump back and land in chaturanga. Inhale up, firm the belly, firm the front of the thighs. Exhale, lift the hips, down dog. And breathe in and exhale completely. So we're moving energy through the body with these vinyasas. Moving energy through the spine. Bring your feet together. Let's take the right leg to the sky. Bend the knee and open up the hip again. Straighten right leg, gaze forward, and we'll step the right foot between the hands. So inch it up there so the knee is over the ankle. Spin your back heel down this time. Rise all the way up for warrior one. Pull back on that right hip. Hips are facing the front of your mat. Back heel is on the floor and your back toes are pointing toward the front left corner of your mat. Close the lower ribs. Draw the lower belly in. But then lift the heart toward the sky. From here, take the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers, lift the heart, inhale. Exhale, forward fold, devotional warrior, humble warrior, drop your head. Open up the shoulders. Keep the breath going. Come back up, reach your arms to the sky. Inhale, exhale, turn to the side, warrior two, Virabhadrasana B. So I'm gonna widen the distance between my feet just like an inch or two by moving that back leg slightly back. Keep the back toes angled slightly forward so that you can push into the outside edge of your back foot. Your right knee should be over your right ankle, not way over your toes. So be aware of that. You want a nice wide distance between your feet. Relax the shoulders, firm the belly, and reverse the warrior by turning the right palm to the sky, reaching up and back. The backhand rests lightly on the back leg, or we can wrap it around and reach for that right hip crease. Now we're going to straighten our right leg, triangle, reach forward, out, and down, lightly placing that right hand on the shin or the ankle. If you have a block, it goes on the outside of your right leg. And if you can reach the floor, the fingertips go on the outside. Make sure you're not putting pressure directly against your knee. You want your hand below your knee. Reach up through the left fingers and then reach that left arm forward. Keep the breath going. Reach it back up. Wrap it behind you. Bend the right knee. Come up onto that elbow. Bring the elbow to the right thigh. Parsva Konasana. Side angle pose with this half bind. Turn the heart toward the sky. Stay here or wrap the right arm underneath the right leg for the full bind. If that's causing your heart to collapse toward the earth, just stay in the half bind instead. The right fingertips can be on the floor or the elbow can be on the thigh. Tuck the chin, look over the left shoulder or look down at the earth. One more breath here. This one's really good for our liver, helping to cleanse the liver on the right side. Come back up, reverse the warrior. Oh, you can straighten out your right leg if you need to. Whew. Bring hands to the earth. Step that, or actually drop that back knee. Let's do a nice little hamstring stretch here. So pull back and straighten behind that right leg. Pull back on your toes. If you're using your block, your right hand can go on the block. You can also use a couch or a chair to put your right hand on if you're having trouble reaching the floor. If you want to make it more intense, left hand is going to come across and we grab the outside edge of the left foot or the left ankle. Draw the belly button to the spine. Deepen the breath here. Inhale. There's a slight pause at the top of the inhalation. And exhale, there's that slight pause at the bottom of the exhalation. So there's that natural pause between the breaths. Now take your toes to the earth. Try to reach all 5 toes down. And lengthen over that right leg. Breathe in. And exhale completely. And then from here, come forward, tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee, and come into standing splits, taking that left leg to the sky. If you're using a block, you can always put your hands on a block, or just bend the right knee. Your right leg doesn't have to be straight, but try to lift that left leg as high as you can. And then put the left foot on the floor next to the right foot. And bend the knees, drop the hips, sweep the floor, arms come back up, chair pose. Utkatasana. Shift back into those heels. Weight is back into those heels. Let's do eagle. So we're gonna wrap the right arm underneath the left. I'm gonna face you guys. So right arm goes underneath the left. Now if you're having trouble wrapping the arms, just grab your shoulders like you're giving yourself a hug. Drop your hips and then stay here. Or if you wanna do the legs, you're gonna wrap your left leg over your right. And you can keep the left toes on the floor for balance, or maybe lift them off the floor, or maybe try to wrap them around the calf if you can. And then drop those hips down. So this one's a really good one for squeezing tension out of the body, squeezing toxins out of the body. Yoga is not just good for your muscles and your bones, bone density, but it's also good for your organs and your digestive system. And so try to drop those hips a little bit lower. Maybe bring the elbows toward the thighs, crouching eagle. And then from here, just unwind. Bring your arms up to the sky, turn toward the front of the mat. And exhale, hands come back down through center, and we bow forward, reach down for the earth. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, jump back or step back to plank. Shifting forward on the toes or dropping the knees for chaturanga. Exhale. Inhale, cobra or upward dog. Shoulders are down away from the ears. And then push yourself back into child's pose or downward facing dog. And rest here. Bringing the attention back to the breath, creating that whisper sound as you breathe in and out through your nose. Slightly constricting the base of the throat. Kind of like you're breathing in and out through a tiny hole in the base of the throat. Or again, like you're fogging a mirror, creating that whisper sound. If you're in child's pose, come into downward facing dog. Lift your shoulders away from the ears so you're creating space for your neck, and draw the lower belly in. Bring the feet together. We'll do the left side. Take the left leg to the sky. Stay here or bend the knee. Straighten left leg, gaze forward. Use momentum, lift that knee high and try to step it through. That one can be challenging. So if you didn't make it the first time, inch it up there so the left knee is over the left ankle. Spin the back heel down. Take your arms up. Warrior one. Virabhadrasana B. Or A. Virabhadrasana A. Pull back on the left hip. Draw the lower ribs in. Lift the heart. Take the hands behind the back. Interlace the fingers. Inhale. Lift the heart. Exhale, forward fold. Devotional warrior. Humble warrior. Drop your head. If your shoulders are more flexible, maybe try to keep your palms together. If you're having trouble interlacing your fingers, if you have a strap or a towel, you can always hold that instead. And then we'll rise all the way up. Take your arms to the sky, warrior one. And turn to the side, warrior two, Virabhadrasana B. So I'm gonna move my back foot back just like an inch, not too much. Make sure that the left knee is over the left ankle, and then don't let it roll inward. So push it out to the left so you feel like you're opening up across the front of your hips and also across the front of your chest. Reach out through the fingertips. Maybe sink a little lower. This is warrior pose, so it's another heat building pose. Turn that left palm up to the sky, reverse your warrior. Reaching up and back. Backhand rests lightly on the back leg, or we wrap it around and reach for that right hip crease. Left hip crease. Straighten left leg, triangle, reach forward, out and down. Utthita Trikonasana. Reaching straight up toward the sky. If you're using your block, left hand can go on the outside of your ankle. There shouldn't be a lot of weight on that left hand. So wherever it is, on your block or on your shin, we're reaching the floor. We're using it as a very light support. Reach the top arm overhead. Don't hold the breath here, keep breathing. Reach back up, wrap that right arm behind your back and open up that right shoulder. Bend the left knee, bring the left elbow to the left thigh. If the back leg's too far away, you can always hop it in a little bit. And then rotate the heart open toward the sky. Stay here in the half bind or take that left arm underneath and clasp the hands behind you. But not if you're like this and facing the floor. So I'd rather have you just stay here in the half bind. Then you can turn the heart toward the sky. One more breath here, breathe in and exhale. Rise back up, warrior two, reverse. You can straighten out that leg if you need to. And then take your hands down to the earth, set the back knee down, pull back, and get this nice stretch in the back of the left leg. So important to stretch these hamstring muscles behind the knee, back of the thigh, because they connect to our low back and they can make the lower back feel really tight if the hamstrings are tight. And then maybe reach across with that opposite hand. This will create more of an IT band stretch down the outside of that left leg, like next to the knee when you're reaching across like this. Keep the breath going. We're gonna reach the toes toward the floor and just change the stretch now. So it's in the ankle and the top of the foot. Feels so good. Try to get all 5 toes down. I love this one. You can always bend your knee too a little bit if it helps you get your toes toward the floor. It's really good to stretch this ankle and keep this area nice and loose, not too tight. And we'll work on standing on this one leg as we shift all the way into the left foot. Lift that back leg into standing splits. I'm just using the hands as a light support. You can keep your left knee bent, but try to stretch that right leg as high as you can. Lift it toward the sky. And then put both feet on the floor. Bend your knees. Sink down. Arms come up. Chair pose. Utkatasana. Again, shift the weight back into the heels. I'm gonna face you again. We'll do eagle on the left side. So swinging the left arm underneath the right this time. And then maybe grabbing the shoulders if that's easier. Drop the hips low. Stay on both feet. Or wrap the right leg over the left leg. And you can keep the toes on the floor. Maybe lift the toes. Maybe try to wrap them around the calf. Drop those hips again. Steady the mind. This is helping with our concentration and also really strengthening this standing leg. If you're just standing on the one leg, it's strengthening your ankle. Working on our balance. Don't hold the breath, stay calm. Maybe move the elbows closer toward the thighs, crouching eagle, opening up behind the heart. And then we'll unwind and stand at the top of the mat. Reach the arms to the sky, inhale. Hands come down through center and we bow forward, reach down for the earth. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, step or jump back, landing with soft elbows. It's a fancy move. Inhale, open the heart, firm the belly, firm the front of the thighs. Exhale, use the abdominal muscles to lift your hips. Otherwise, you're gonna put a lot of strain on that low back. So really gotta use the abdominal muscles when you go from upward dog to downward facing dog. And just relax your neck here, resting in your downward dog, or you can always rest in child's pose. If downward facing dog is feeling too tiring, just come down and bring your hips toward your heels. And then from here, we'll do a little bit of plank action. Let's do it on that forearms, so we'll give the wrists a rest. Come down onto your forearms, Walk those knees back. If you're gonna do it on your knees, that's totally fine. It's still hard on your knees. Just make sure your knees are far enough back that your hips are not sticking up in the air. Now make sure that you're not feeling it in your low back, because then you'll be collapsed here and then you'll feel it in the low back. So you don't want that. So lift up through the waist. If you're gonna do it on your toes should be hip width distance apart, and you want to engage the front of those legs. So we're lifting through the kneecaps and engaging through the quadriceps. Lift up through the breastbone. Again, lift up through the waist. And your chin should be slightly tucked. You're gazing at your wrists. But you don't want to drop your head, so don't be looking at your belly button. And don't be looking forward, because that'll strain your neck. So just gaze about where your wrists or forearms are. Again, lift up through the breastbone. Lift up through the waist. Now, we're gonna see if we can take it to one side. So you can always just hold the plank here, or if you wanna try doing the side plank, we're gonna line up the forearm with the top of the mat so it's parallel, and then modify by crossing that top leg over and lifting those hips up. If you want a little bit more challenging, straighten both legs. Top leg is crossed in front, feet are staggered, or maybe you're stacking your heels. Reach that top arm overhead, put your hand on your hip and push up into your hip 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, come down. Let's stretch it out here. So we're gonna go over and take a little mermaid stretch. Because I wanted to do that. Now that I have to do the whole thing with you guys, I feel it a lot more. I need to rest. Find this nice stretch here as you reach over and breathe. Very nice. And let's just go right to our other side actually we're gonna start in the plank and then we'll go to this side plank. So just starting off here on both forearms again. And just make sure that you're doing your other side. You're gonna come line up that forearm with the top of the mat for our side plank. Modify by crossing the top leg over, bending that top knee, or staggering the feet. Both legs are straight, or stacking the heels. So lift those hips up. Keep that bottom shoulder down away from the ears. Keep your hip bones facing the side wall, not the sky. Reach the top arm forward. Put your hand on your hip. Push up 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Drop it down. Nice job. Stretch it out. Mermaid or merman. Just find that nice stretch in that side body here. Deep breath in and deep breath out. And then from here, let's sit with our legs wide apart. So we'll take a straddle stretch. Now if this is hard for you to straighten your back, I want you to sit on a block or a pillow, and that will help a lot. Or you can also bend your knees. So most important is a straight back, and then from there we're gonna work towards straightening out the legs. Press the backs of the thigh bones into the earth. If you want to take it further and your back is straight, you can start to walk those hands out in front of you. Pull back on those toes, really flex the feet. This is going to make it a lot more intense if you have a nice active toes. Deepen the breath here, inhale and exhale. Maybe reach the heart toward the floor, but try not to round that upper back. If you can reach your feet, you can try grabbing your feet. Breathe in and breathe out. And then we'll come back up and maybe reach your opposite arm over, grab your ankle, or if you can reach your foot, grab your foot. Try to press that other hip down toward the floor. Breathe in and exhale, emptying the lungs. Sit up nice and tall, other side, reach it over and find that stretch here. And this whole side of the body, drop that opposite hip down toward the earth. Remember, if you can't grab your foot, just grab your ankle, or you can even put both hands on the floor and just forward fold. Use your breath to help open your body. Inhale, exhale. Good. And then we'll come up, move the feet into a butterfly stretch. Feet are together, lift the heart, and forward fold. Bring your heart toward your feet. Now, if your knees are more up like this, you can also put your elbows against your thighs and use your arms to help pry your legs open. Use your breath again to help open up your body safely. Inhale, exhale. You can also push on your thighs. Just don't push against your knees. Push on those inner thighs. Breathe in and exhale, further lengthening over the legs. From here, we're just gonna swing one leg back. So I'm gonna have my right leg forward and my left leg's gonna go back. This is pigeon, so you can do pigeon on your back instead, which I'll show you. But this is lying down pigeon with the right knee pointing toward the front right corner of your mat. It should be slightly outside of your right hip. And then your foot is flexed and you can slowly lower all the way down, resting your forehead on your mat or on the backs of your hands. If you're gonna do it on your back instead, it looks like this. Cross your right ankle on top of your left thigh, and then maybe thread your right arm between your legs and grab your left hamstring or your shin if you can reach. So both are great options for stretching the hip and the hamstring, which will help relieve a lot of tension in the lower back. A lot of doctors recommend pigeon as a daily pose for your body therapy. Pigeon is just wonderful medicine for the body. Wherever you are, close your eyes, turn the attention inward, and bring the attention to the breath and to that space, that stillness between the breaths. At the top of the inhalation and at the bottom of the exhalation. And your breath should sound like ocean waves going in and out. And there's that full exhalation. And just letting go of anything that we no longer need. If you're on your back, just hug both knees into your chest. If you're here, you can stay in swan, or if it's available, bend your back knee and reach back with the left hand for king pigeon, pulling that leg in toward you and stretching that left quadricep. And then we'll release the leg. Now from here, let's come up onto the right knee and the right hand. And we're gonna reach the left arm to the sky. So pushing into the outside edge of your back foot. Keep the shoulders down away from the ears. Reach that top arm overhead. Find this length in that left side of the body. If you have your balance, maybe float that leg up, that top leg up. Keep the breath going. Now you can stay here for about 5 more breaths, or if you would like to do side plank on your right hand, or do it on your elbow again instead if you want to. Cross that top leg in front, lift those hips, or staggering the feet. Legs are straight, top leg in front, or if you're feeling really strong and fancy, both heels are stacked on top of each other. Lift those hips, maybe float the top leg off the bottom leg, or maybe not. And And then we'll come to both hands. Shake out that right wrist if you need to. Shift forward on your toes or drop your knees. Chaturanga, exhale. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Firm the belly, exhale. Take it back to downward facing dog. Resting here. We'll go into pigeon on the left side. Bringing the left shin across the body. Making sure that left knee is slightly outside of the left hip and it should be pointing toward the front left corner of your mat. And then your foot is flexed. Slowly lower down. If your left hip is way off the floor, you can use a block or a pillow and put it underneath your left hip, just to make it more comfortable if you want to. If you're doing it on your back, that left ankle is crossed on top of the right thigh. And wherever you are, close your eyes. And turn the attention inward. Noticing this sense of I am, the sense of beingness, the sense of I exist. And just following the breath. Slowly inhaling, filling the lungs completely. And slowly exhaling, emptying the lungs completely. We tend to hold a lot of emotions in our hips, or in our body, but especially in our hips. So just accepting, allowing whatever comes up to come up. And then as you exhale, just letting go. Letting go of anything that you no longer need. These hip openers are all about surrender. We're not pushing or fighting to go deeper into the posture. We're just allowing the body to open up through the breath. If you're on your back, hug your knees into your chest. If you're here, come up into swan or bend the back knee for king pigeon. And stretch that right quadricep. And then release that back leg. And we'll come up onto the left knee and the left hand, reaching the right arm to the sky, pushing into the outside edge of the right foot so that you can balance. Keep that left shoulder down away from the ear, then reach the right arm overhead, creating this length in the right side of the body. Now engage your abdominal muscles and maybe lift that right leg up, finding the balance here. Staying here for about 5 more breaths. We're moving into Vasisthasana, side plank. Crossing the right leg over, right knee can be bent. You can do it on your left hand or your elbow instead if it hurts your wrist. Lift those hips high, maybe straighten both legs and stagger the feet, top leg in front, or stack the heels on top of each other. Maybe float the top leg off the bottom leg. Hold here for 1 more breath. My arm's shaking. And then we'll come to both hands. Hold the plank, shake out the left wrist if you need to. Shift forward on the toes or drop the knees. Exhale, chaturanga. Keep the front of the legs firm and engaged if you're doing it, the chaturanga with straight legs. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, back into downward facing dog. Resting here. This will be our last downward facing dog, so just noticing the difference from the first one that we did at the beginning of the practice. Now that we've moved the energy through the body, through the spine, created more lightness in the body. And then we'll come down into seated position and bend your knees. So your feet are flat on the floor. Reach your arms out in front of you. And then let's roll down just about halfway and stop right here. So you can always hold on to the backs of your legs. Open up your heart and keep holding on. Or if you're reaching your arms out in front, see if you can bring one arm up, one arm down, and then switch. So try not to let your torso move. Just the arms are moving. Draw the belly button in toward the spine and keep your chin off of your chest. Again, try to keep your torso still. If this is easy for you, then lean back a little bit further. Let's do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Arms go out in front, and we're gonna roll down slowly. And then exhale, roll back up slowly. So if you get stuck, you can use your hands to help you. Or you can just roll up halfway, putting the hands behind the head, coming up halfway, stopping there, and going back down. Wherever you are, let's exhale through the mouth because we're doing core work now. So breathing out will really help connect to those deep core abdominal muscles as we exhale through the mouth to roll down and exhale through the mouth to roll up. So you want to exhale on the exertion. Exhale down. Let's do one more time. Exhale up and exhale slowly down. Now move your feet a little closer toward you. Exhale, curl up and hover the fingertips above the knees. Come up onto your tippy toes and stay here. Or if you can keep your low back on the floor, you're gonna float your toes just 1 inch off the floor. Make sure your toes are literally 1 inch off the floor. You can like tap and check and just make sure that they're just hovering off the floor. Curl those shoulder blades up higher. If your neck hurts, put one or even both hands behind your head. The more you can curl up with your abdominal muscles, the less work your neck has to do. So curl up a little bit higher. Hold here, keep the low back on the floor. Let's go for 10. Exhale, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Lower down. From here, push into your feet and lift your hips up to bridge pose. Ground down through all 10 toes. Press those big toes into the floor. And then if you would like to lift up higher into a yoga bridge, you can keep the palms flat or interlace the fingers and walk the shoulder blades together underneath you. If your low back is feeling kind of sensitive, you don't need to come up very high. Or you can also just keep your hips on the floor and let your knees fall together. That's a nice option. Just close your mouth now. Breathe through your nose. Coming back to your Ujjayi breath, your yoga breathing. And when you're ready, when you're finished with your back bend, slowly drop your hips down and just let the knees fall together. And then bring your knees and your feet hip-width distance apart and move your feet about 2 inches forward away from your body. From here, we're gonna push up and squeeze the bum, just coming up about halfway, and then back down. Push up and squeeze, and back down. So just doing a little bit of seat work here to strengthen the glutes and strengthen the hamstrings. You can keep your big toes on the floor, or if you want to, you can lift your toes off of the floor so that you're just on your heels. It makes your hamstrings have to work a bit harder, but if it bothers your ankles or your knees, then just keep your toes on the floor. And draw the belly button toward the spine. Press your upper back and middle back into the earth. If this is bothering your low back, you're probably coming up too high. So it's not about arching the back. We're just squeezing the bum and lifting the hips off of the earth. And don't actually touch your bum to the floor. So almost to the floor and then push back up and squeeze. So almost down and then back up and lift. And just do about 10 more here. Relax your jaw, relax your neck. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and drop the hips all the way back down. Draw your knees into your chest, releasing that low back. Hold on to your shins. Bring your knees wide apart for happy baby pose. If you can reach the soles of your feet, grab the soles of your feet. Pull your knees toward your body. And press your low back into the earth. Happy baby. Get as much of your low back on the floor as possible. Massage the kidneys here as you rock side to side. And then from here, we're just gonna roll all the way over onto our stomach and do this nice shoulder opener. So we'll reach the right arm out across from the right shoulder, or it can be a little bit higher up, just not too low. So it should be at shoulder height or a little bit higher. Gaze over toward the left, put your left hand under your left shoulder and gently see if you can roll your body over. So you don't have to go very far in order to find this stretch. Let your head rest on the floor if you can, and maybe try to stack that left hip on top of the right. The left hand can stay under that left shoulder, or you can wrap it behind you. Whatever feels best on your body. Reach through the right fingers. And if you're not feeling much of a stretch, try bringing your arm up a little higher, like a 45-degree angle, because that will really open up your chest a lot. Make sure that you're not holding your breath. You want to deepen the breath here. If you're holding your breath or breathing rapidly, then that's a sign to just back off a little bit. And we'll roll onto the belly and do the other side. So reach your left arm out across from your left shoulder or slightly above. I like to bring it to almost like a 45-degree angle, because then it really opens up the chest. You may not be able to go over quite as far. That's okay. Keep that right hand under the right shoulder or wrap it back behind you. Stack the right hip on top of the left. Rest your head on the floor. Relaxing the neck, relaxing the jaw. Reaching through those left fingers. Just keep deepening the breath. Inhale. And exhale. This is especially a good stretch if you're a side sleeper. If you tend to sleep on one side, you're going to notice probably one side is a lot tighter. So we'll roll back onto the belly and then we'll roll back onto the back and hug the knees into the chest. One more time. And rock out that low back. Now, please feel free to stay right here. If shoulder stand is something that you like to practice, now is a good time to do it. I will show you in case you want to try, but feel free to just keep hugging your knees into your chest because this feels pretty good too. If you're going to do the shoulder stand, you use a little momentum to take your hips up and then you put your hands on your low back. When you're in the shoulder stand, don't turn your head, just look toward your toes. And the weight should be in the shoulders, so the weight's not in the neck. The weight is in the shoulders. Firm the lower belly to help keep yourself up there. You can also just lie on your back. Another option is to just be on your back and bring your legs up a wall, just like this. And just, or even on your back here, and just have the legs lifted. And then you get the blood flow from your toes down to your heart. If you are doing the shoulder stand, you can try to reach the toes overhead. And if they don't touch the floor, keep the hands on the low back. If they do touch the floor, maybe interlace the fingers and straighten your arms down your mat. Make sure that you're still breathing. Mouth is closed. When you're ready, you're just gonna roll all the way down and make your way into Shavasana, our final resting pose. We can do Shavasana by letting the legs fall open, letting the toes fall out to the sides. Let your palms face the sky. Close your eyes. And just allow your body to absorb all of the benefits from your practice. Yoga works on our nervous system, letting your nervous system take it all in. Bring your attention to the sensations of your body. Noticing the tingling in the palms of the hands and in the soles of the feet. Notice the tingling in the face and in the heart center and the belly. And just feeling the breath as it flows into the stomach. Feeling your diaphragm gently rise as you inhale, unraveling any areas of tension in the stomach. And as you exhale, feel the weight of the body melting into the earth. Continue to breathe into your stomach. We tend to hold a lot of tension in the stomach. Each time you exhale, start to feel the sensations of your body melting into the space around you, becoming one with the space around you. Please feel free to stay here as long as you like. If you're ready to come out of it, begin to wiggle the toes and the fingers. Maybe you extend the arms overhead for one last big stretch. Reach through the fingers and the toes, open the mouth and stretch the jaw. Keep the eyes closed. And roll to one side, bending the knees if that's comfortable. And then the eyes will stay closed. Slowly come on up into a comfortable seated position. Just take a moment to sit here. We'll stretch the neck, so sitting nice and tall. Bring your right ear to your right shoulder. Reach the fingertips toward the earth. And let that left side of your neck stretch. Lift the head and do the other side. And reach through those fingers. Let that right side of your neck stretch. Lift the head, take the hands to the heart, silently thanking yourself for this practice, And feeling this gratitude for this practice of yoga, bringing us into full union. Who we are, this stillness, this peace is who we are. It is the true essence of our being. It is always here. And we'll bow forward and close our practice. Namaste.